There's this misconception in handstands to think about dropping the shoulders or relaxing the shoulders whilst you're in your handstand. I'd like to show you one reason why this might not necessarily be best for you in your handstand. If you bring your hand in front of you, so you've got your wrist in line with your shoulders, and I just want you to think about raising the arm up over the head, but keep the shoulders dropped. Already we're trying really hard to drop the shoulder, and it's just not quite natural. What you also find is that if we're dropping the shoulder, it's very hard to open the shoulder as well, which is what we also need to look for in a handstand. So now bring the arm in front of you, wrist in line with the shoulders, bring the arm over the head. We naturally bring the shoulders by the ears. So here already, it's so much easier to bring the shoulder up by the ears. So here we really want to start thinking about, if this is true, how can we implement that into our handstand? And many ideas come about from so many different types of teachers, and not necessarily one teacher is right or wrong, but think about it. If you're bringing your shoulders by your ears, you're starting to use strength in your shoulders rather than dropping the shoulders and having to use arm strength. So if you want to be balancing your handstand, start thinking about now extending up, shoulders by ears. Placing hands on the floor, shoulder width apart. Index finger facing forwards, making sure shoulders over the wrists. Taking a few steps in, then bend the knees, keeping straight arms, shoulders over the wrist, and then lift the hips high. Try this exercise several times, seeing if you can keep straight arms. Film yourself next time you do this. It can be surprising what our own perception of straight arms is. Bringing the feet together, big toes and heels touching. Zipping up the legs, pulling up the kneecaps, thighs and bottom. Interlock the fingers, bring the arms over the head, palms facing down. Relaxing the head, looking straight in front of you, drawing the lower ribs in and pulling the sternum in. Encouraging to open out the shoulders, keeping straight arms. Hold this here. Checking your setup, making sure that hands are shoulder width apart, index finger facing forwards and shoulders over the wrists. Kicking up to handstand, finding your line by opening the shoulders, hollowing and opening the hips. Keeping heels on the wall, bring your chin to your chest. If you're in the right position, you should be able to see your feet. A common mistake is to open the shoulders too much or not enough. You want to really think about pushing up from the shoulders whilst maintaining opening of the shoulders. For this exercise, it's important to make sure you've got the measurements right. The simplest and most approximate way is measuring with your leg, then place your hands down and kick up to the wall. Firstly, you want to think about pushing up from the shoulders, then opening the shoulders. Draw the lower ribs in, then start to open your hips. Your legs will be about hip distance apart and the ball of the foot will be touching the wall. This is an incredible exercise for hollowing, though this kind of thing takes a little bit of time, so be patient. If you're in good alignment, you will actually be balancing. There is no need to push your ball of the foot against the wall, just let it happen naturally. Checking setup, making sure that hands as wide as the shoulders, index finger facing forwards and shoulders over the wrists. Taking a few steps in. The motion of the pike straddle is progressive and it's coordination based as well as flexibility based. With anything that's coordination based, you want to keep it small to begin with, so you don't need to be even thinking about hips over the shoulders just yet. This will be a numbers game for you as well, so the more that you do it, the more familiar. Starting on the balls of the feet, bend your knees and see if you can straddle the legs wide in a jump and then come back down, bringing feet together. Progressive steps with pike straddle, and eventually once you do get to the wall, make sure that your legs are lifted, active in the legs and pointing the toes.